What's up, everybody? Welcome in. We are back. Israel's back in human form, and it is the Believe in Georgia Dogs podcast on the Believe Network. Welcome in, Israel. How's it going, dude? You enjoying the
What's up,
snow?
brother? No, I'm not. No. It has been cold, and I've been complaining a lot more than I normally do, but it is cold
Yeah,
out here, buddy.
I'll
I'm gonna
bet.
send this back up here with you guys.
Yeah, we don't want it either. We did see we had the sub 10-degree temperatures, but not the benefit of the snow. So, um, yeah, how about
It
that,
all
right?
sounds terrible.
Yeah, it's been awful. Like you go out and you're just like, because like they don't cancel school for just making the kids, sit in the just sit in this cold weather to wait on the bus. So that becomes very, very tricky.
Oh no, can't even do it. People on Facebook complaining about that. I'm like, just keep your kids at home. There's no need to. Oh, I can't believe they're making the kids go back to school. Well, you have the option to keep your kids back at home too. So there's that aspect of
Exactly.
life.
Exactly. Just do what you got to do. You know, we weren't very well attended this week. So there you go. But anyway, I I'm excited to be back. We got a lot to talk about. It's been a while. I did a solo run last week and kind of just went on a stream of consciousness, just so we could get our first underdog read because we got a new sponsor, Underdog, um,
Absolutely.
and I wanted to get them a shout out and some love because that platform is outstanding. So before we get into our topics of discussion, here is my picks for tonight. I got Jason Tatum, James Harden, and Norman Powell. I don't even know who Norman Powell is, but I think these are some gimme picks. So this is good. Higher than a half of one first quarter 3-pointers made for each of these three guys. What do you think of this pick set?
I think I picked. I didn't pick any of those. I got like 8 of them,
Yeah, there was
and
like
I
some
kind of played with them a lot.
yeah on the app it like is like, hey, here's an NBA like quick picks. That was pretty cool. So I just went with that. But if you don't know what Underdog is, it is a new fantasy platform, and well, it's really, really cool. So if you're unfamiliar with it, it is a unique approach. It's a pick'em style format. You can select players you believe will outperform expectations without the complexities of traditional daily fantasy sports. It's user friendly too, man, and you just go like higher or lower. When you pick your lineup, it's really pretty cool. And they have this thing called Flex Play, and you don't
Mhm.
have to get them all right. So I'm excited, and I'm going to make these picks. I haven't made them yet because I'm still thinking about which ones I actually want to play for the playoffs this weekend for the NFC and AFC championships. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Like Saquon Barkley, I feel like the higher on the half of a rushing or receiving touchdown is kind of like an automatic for him.
Oh, for sure. I'm way better with the football play than I am the basketball play. So I'm getting some tips from one of my coaches right now who watches the NBA religiously. I'm like, hey man, like, how does football work? I mean, how does basketball work? Because I have no clue what I'm doing when it comes to basketball. But
Yeah,
right
who's
now,
cool?
I got 2 that I need Damian Lillard to tighten up. I need him to, you know, get me going here. But
Yeah,
everybody else doing pretty good, except for Paolo, who, I had him at 19 and a half, but he's only
yeah,
scored 8 points tonight. So that's going to be a bummer if he doesn't get that going.
yeah. That'll be yeah, but still with the flex play though, like you can afford to miss one, which is
Yeah,
beautiful.
I can win a little bit still.
Yeah. So I like that a lot. So but it's an interesting platform. I kind of like it better than the traditional ones where you're like, oh, pick the spreads, pick the even though the traditional ones are doing prop bets and stuff. Um,
Hmm.
this is kind of a better version of that. So I've been ever since I got introduced to this. I was kind of skeptical at first, I'll be honest, but I'm kind of digging it. I'm actually digging it
Absolutely,
a lot.
I love it. I love it just because I wanted this a lot more than just betting on just the game itself. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? So that's always a plus.
yeah,
My kids had a great Christmas because of this situation.
There you
But
go.
it's a lot more fun, and it gets you learn the players and stuff too. Instead of game by game can be different because we all know it's rigged. Air quotes on the rigged part. So
Yeah.
no player is going to actually throw the game, from points and rebounds stuff like that. So
Yeah.
it makes it a lot more realistic for me.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. So, but yeah, underdog. If you're not playing, come play with us. Come give us advice. Come match up. Come set your lineups. Get in on the action, man. It's the way to go. Use promo code Believe Dogs if you join.
Ain't no doubt.
So
Especially if you're an NBA guy. I'm just waiting on the MLB to start, then I'll kind of know what I'm doing. But if you're an NBA guy, I would love for you to help brother out, on this side over here because I don't really watch the NBA.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
They don't play defense anymore, so it bothers me.
Yeah. Hell yeah. So Believe Dogs is a promo code. And guess what, Israel? A promo code gives new users a free pick and up to $1,000 in bonus cash. Can you believe that?
Makes for some good betting.
Yeah, man. Like you can do some really cool stuff. And like for you and I on football, we could like if we had that $1,000, we could rack up like we could nickel and dime it through baseball season. And then football season, we just load up. And then, like you said, Christmas
There's
is
no doubt.
good.
You re-up real quick.
Yeah, Christmas is good. Yeah, and so the depositing and the claiming your winnings is also a really easy process too. So keep that in mind.
It's way easier than most platforms. So if you haven't got it yet, hit us up.
Yeah, hit us up. Believe Dogs is a promo code. You get a free pick and $1,000 in bonus cash. You don't want to miss that. But we are live tonight, so if you want to jump in on the comments, all one of you, make sure you do that, and we'll gladly answer your questions. But Israel, like I said, man, we got a lot to talk about. But the title of the show, Puglisi versus Stockton. Like, is there going to be a battle for quarterback one? Because I saw a clip of Ryan Puglisi, and to be honest with you, with his skill set and Gunner's skill set, the way Coach Bobo calls plays, I feel like Puglisi actually might be the better fit scheme-wise. Nothing against Gunner, but like the way Mike Bobo calls plays and the way this offense is designed, Puglisi might actually be the better fit.
I'm waiting to see it. I think it's Gunner's to lose, obviously, just because he's been in the system long enough to kind of know what's going on. But at the same time, after last year's, quote unquote, disaster of a season, as people would like to call it, even though we went 10-3 and won the SEC, we're going to be looking for a little bit more explosive things, and I've heard that a lot. Let's get on the offensive coordinator deal first. I've heard Georgia needs to be more explosive and things like that. Well, we didn't have anybody that could be explosive this year. We had a mediocre offensive line, which is the backbone of Georgia football. If you've been a fan of Georgia football, we've been really good at offensive line. No matter what year it is, we've been pretty good at that position. This year we were not. So, your explosive come from those 5 people up front doing their job and doing it with reckless abandonment. And we didn't have that this year. So explosive can happen if the offensive line do not do their job.
No, I mean you're so used to having an offensive line that just mashes.
Explosive if you can. So there's that aspect of life as well.
Yeah, for sure.
That's number 2. And the last one, you can't be explosive as well if the quarterback's not putting the ball where he needs to be or making the correct reads when he needs to make it. Now, all those go back to number 1, the offensive line. And we couldn't run the ball this year either, which also sets up explosives for you. So now that that's out the way, and since everybody wants to blame everybody instead of actually watching football, now that that's out the way, I think it's Gunner's, spot to lose. I think the roster loves him. I think the locker room loves him. At the end of the day, it always going to come down to competition and who can run the offense. Who can make things happen. If you're looking for explosives, then that's going to come from that guy. How can he be explosive in the pass game and in the run game? Because let's be honest, we're still going to be playing musical chairs next year up front. So, and that's really it for me. I'm excited to see kind of what the spring holds. I never count my chickens before they hatch anyway around this time of the year. At the quarterback position. So It's always interesting around this time. Well, this guy, and this guy. But at the end of the day, whoever they roll out there, that's who I'm rocking with.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, you got to. I mean, that's the that you have to assume, and you've seen practice, and we all know how Kirby operates. You have to assume that if Puglisi's out there, he won the job. If Gunnar Stockton's out there, he won the job. Because I mean, Kirby's not going to roll some guy out there because they're best friends. Like he honestly, and this goes back to the Jake Fromm, Justin Fields thing. Like Justin Fields wasn't ready, and then he decided Georgia wasn't the best fit for him. James Coley was offensive coordinator. There were some things going on within the program, some strife and some drama and all that stuff. He decides to go to Ohio State. He became ready at Ohio State, and he's had a pretty good career, and I'm happy for him. But, the narrative around that situation was Kirby picked his favorite quarterback, Jake Fromm. Well, that's not necessarily true. Jake Fromm came in as a freshman and led the team to the national championship. Like, what are you supposed to do?
Mm-hmm. And the fact that here's the thing that most people don't want to admit is that we've made a lot of money handing the ball off to the running back.
Yeah, and that year we had Swift.
And when Fields was there with us, we had some really good running backs. We didn't really need to throw the football. His skill set did not match the philosophy of Georgia at that time, which he needed to transfer. And I tell people that all the time, like, at that particular time, and Fields just was not there at the right time at Georgia.
Right, and he would have. He showed flashes of what he could have been. I mean, it had Todd Monken
had been our coordinator. Absolutely, there's no doubt. Yeah, absolutely no doubt.
Flourished in that system, but he wasn't.
It's the system. It's the quarterback who's more suited for that system. You go back to when Todd Monken came, Stetson Bennett was the prototypical quarterback for that system. Mm-hmm. Everybody tried to say, what's his name?
JT Daniels.
That's it, JT Daniels. He was a pocket passer. That offense is not built for a pocket passer.
No.
Mike Bobo's JT. Now, there you go. Now, if JT was in this offense, now we're cooking. So it just depends on what you're looking for. You know what I mean? It depends on the quarterback within the system and things like that too, which people don't understand. Which why you and I are coordinators, and we understand those things very, very well.
Yeah, you got to understand what the right fit is, and at the high school level, you don't have as much control over who's your quarterback. So you kind of like we as high school guys, and I harp on this like being creative because that's just kind of how we have to be as high school coordinators. But I think there should be a little flexibility. But then again, in college, you can recruit your own guys, so like you can find those attributes of what you want, and what you want may not like this guy might be super talented, one of the best quarterbacks in the country, but he doesn't fit your scheme. Mm-hmm. And that could be the case with Gunnar Stockton, unfortunately, because Mike Bobo's not really into the quarterback +1 running game is kind of where I'm getting at. So he's talented. He can make every throw. He's a smart guy, great leader. He checks all the boxes except for the fact that his best tool is not Mike Bobo's favorite tool to use.
Mm-hmm. Which I think, after this season, I think you adjust that as well. I think you get more into I think you go back, like I said in a couple of shows, you go back and watch what Monken did. Because it's the same offense that Monken had. Let's just be honest. Like nobody wants to admit that. It's the exact same offense that Monken ran.
Yeah. With
a couple of tweaks here and there. I think you just go back to when Monken took over and look at the QB run aspect of it. And I think you just incorporate a little bit more into that going into this year.
Yeah, I think you, with Gunnar, you have to bring back the Stetson Bennett pages. Like you have to dig those out,
Because people, guess what? I know you guys are upset. Explosive, this, that, and the third. It is the exact same offense that we ran for the 2 national championships that we won. In case you were wondering,
the pieces
if you go back and watch
right there.
Exactly. If you go back and watch, it's the exact same concepts. Just the people are different. Just new places, and new faces.
Now, I will ask you this from coordinator to coordinator, and I think it's a fair question. It's not It's not a Mike Bobo sucks and he should, it's not one of those type of questions. But I do think it is a fair question with his play calling. On script, I think he's one of the best coordinators in the country on script. But when he gets off script, I think, and this is probably something that if he did do it, he'd be amazing. Because I think he has, as a former quarterback in the SEC, he has good instincts. I think he gets away from that. I think he goes to his sheet too much, and he doesn't. I think he loses touch with the games occasionally, and I think he gets in these situations to where, okay, this is, the game is flowing this way, and he's like, no, my sheet says this, so I got to stick to this. Like that's how I feel when I watch Mike Bobo call plays. And if he just went, okay, we're going to go here, I think there would be. I think he could create some more explosiveness with he could manufacture some of that, and then gradually build and build and build. And next thing you know, we've put up 40-something points on the board, and everyone's singing a totally different tune. But to me, for me, my play sheet goes in my pocket at some point, and I don't even look at it. I just once I kind of get through the first couple series, I trying to see what I want to do. I get a flow of the game, and I just start calling. And it usually goes pretty well.
And I think that's why, I started off the year in the box first. Everything was kind of going good. And then I think after the fourth game, I think I came to the field because, like you said, I think you can feel the game a lot more when you're on the field. You know what I mean? So I think it's one of those deals to where also you got a head coach in your ear as well, who's a defensive guy. What's the first thing that they want to do? Yes, he wants to be aggressive, but he's going to do what? Want to run the football. So I think it's one of those things to where I think, to me, I think he's got to get out of his own way and just be like, hey, coach, like, let me do this. You know what I mean? Like,
he might be the only guy on staff that can actually say that.
Yeah, like, let me figure this out on my own. Because at the end of the day, when you're calling plays and everything's going good, everything on that sheet is like, we can run this all day. But when it ain't going good, you're trying to find stuff, to make it work instead of getting back to, all right, this is what we do well. I can call this no matter what. We'll get positive yardage. I think that's what we're missing this year. That those 5 plays that can get you back on track. We were looking at the calls trying to make stuff happen.
Did you feel like we had an identity?
Nah, we didn't have one. Like there was no identity at all.
Yeah, I didn't feel like that either. I didn't feel like there was that one thing we could just hang our hats on and say, this is what we do.
Backs,
this is like all the good teams did.
Yeah, like we didn't establish that aspect of anything this year, like we did last year. And also, like I said, you're playing musical chairs up front, which makes it really, really hard to do those things as well. And this all goes back to the parts of the offensive line. It doesn't come down to coaching or anything. It comes just back to the bodies and the people that you have up front.
Yeah. Can they win their
sometimes there's nothing you can do about that, and you just got to put those guys in certain situations where they can win, which I think we tried to this year, but it was just a struggle for those guys up front.
And the reason why we won the SEC is because we did, and we were able to put them in situations to succeed more times than not. But when you get a team that's hungry and aggressive like Notre Dame was, they were able to control us at the line of scrimmage after like a weird first half because of what happened in New Orleans. It was a weird first half, but then then when football finally took over, it's like Notre Dame just said, okay, we're going to control you on the line of scrimmage, and there was a whole lot we could do about it.
No. I mean, I watched our left tackle do the Macarena a couple times, and then it drives me wild when offensive linemen clap their hands in the middle of the play while giving up a sack. That bothers me so bad. And it sends me to a deep, dark place. And I watched him do that a couple times, So, and he can't help it. That's a really good guy he's going up against. I mean, there's nothing you can do about that. But that just goes to show, like, when people are watching the game, those are things that I watch. Instead of watching, oh, man, this, that, and third, those are things that I watch. Like, there's something wrong, up front, and we can't fix it right now. We're gonna need another off season to kind of get this right.
Yeah, just kind of figure out where we're at, have an identity, and stick to that, and say, okay, we need some yards. here's our list of plays. We're going to run these plays, and then we can go off that after we get some positive footing. So, yeah, I was,
I think this is the first year in a very long time that there was no identity established at Georgia offensively.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm talking about hell from the Mark Richt days. I know for sure till now. I think this year was the first year I'm like, what are we doing? Like, what can we hang our hat on right now that's going to work?
The only other year I felt that, and I don't know if you guys felt that in the building, but in 2010, it just kind of felt like I don't know if it was just a lack of identity or just started reeling after AJ got suspended and just couldn't get it back on track. Really, what happened in 10 that led
We
to
just couldn't get it back on track. I mean, we had guys hurt. Hell, I got hurt like game 4, 3 or 4, something like that. So I mean, hell, we only had 2 linebackers, like 1 run. I mean, we were just beat up so bad, that whole entire season. We were just trying to limp across the finish line, So that year was just a little funky year. I mean, I can't even explain that one. Just a lot of bad things happened, that year, And then because our identity was, and our identity was we can hand it off, we could throw it, we could do whatever we wanted to. We had about 5 plays that we know was going to be called at any point. You know what I mean? But like I said, like this year, just watching the football game, it's like at no point were 5 plays ran consistently. You know what I mean? Like, if you're watching the game, you're going to see these 5 plays no matter what.
Yeah, throughout the game.
I never saw that. Mm-hmm.
And it's 5 plays. You're like, I dare you to stop this.
Yes.
Yeah, the plays with that kind of confidence, and I didn't see that either. Even in the wins, even in the big wins, like both wins against Texas, I didn't see that. I saw a team that was reeling. I saw a team that was unsure of itself, especially from the quarterback position, where he was double clutching. He wasn't trusting receivers. He's making, and then on the flip side of that, he felt like he was the number 1 overall pick, and he was trying to throw the ball in some Brett Favre windows, and that wasn't happening. So, like, it was one of those years where you're like, how the hell are we winning?
It's like,
and then
you go into Sunday meetings like, well, guys, we're squeaking out another one. See if we can do it again.
Yeah, what the hell? Duct tape and bubble gum. Thank God for defense, right?
There it is.
So,
there it is.
Defense and special teams. Holy cow! So, but yeah, I'm ready to turn the page. I think the Branch brothers coming in, man. That is massive.
We got a couple of huge guys in the portal that we got that I'm excited about. I hadn't really had time to kind of sit down and exactly see what's going on because we're knee deep in recruiting ourselves. But just looking at the names that we got is going to be really, really good for us. Hopefully, I just saw that Notre Dame center got into the portal too.
Maybe we can
come on to Athens, you know what I mean, and come play for us.
Come play for the SEC.
But I think that's what we need. We're missing linemen. I think we're good at skill position. We're missing linemen on both sides of the ball.
Those are hard to come by anywhere. Like, there's not elite linemen in the portal.
Yeah, because they're staying home. Yeah. Because they're making money where they're at.
Yeah, like there's no reason.
It's the skill guys you got to keep happy.
Yeah, those are the divas. Like Israel, he's a skill guy.
I can tell you right now, I was having a conversation with one of my buddies. He's a D1 coach right now in the SEC, and I was talking to him. I said,
where's he at?
He's at Alabama, and he said, I told him, I said, you know what? I don't think I even would have went in transfer portal. You know what I mean? Just because I was happy where I was. Now, if they offer enough, then I'll start looking. But other than that, I'm like, shit, I'm good.
The portal's stressful, man.
Yeah, you don't know. Like, I don't need that. I don't need that extra stress in my life.
Yeah, I mean, who's to guarantee you're going to go to a better situation?
Yeah, because at the end of the day, I'm trying to win a championship. So
Mhm. If
that's
you're good
just
enough,
that's my mind. I want to win football games. That's my
yeah,
mindset. If I win enough football games, I can get to where I need to be.
yeah. And if you're good enough, the pros will find you. Don't matter. I tell kids all the time, even in my coaching retirement, I tell kids all the time, if you're good enough for the NFL, they'll find you. It doesn't matter.
Ain't no
And
doubt.
you like that. If you're in D3, they'll find you. If you're in D2, they'll find you. If you're in NIA, they'll find you. They those guys get paid pretty handsomely to find you.
All you gotta do
So
is ball, bro. Just
yeah,
go out there and ball.
you just ball, man, because they're going to visit every college in that territory.
Hmm.
Those guys are crazy, man. I don't think I could be a pro scout or an NFL college scout, really. Those guys are nuts, man. They travel like 200 something days a year. Whew.
Y'all can have it.
Yeah,
Y'all
that's
can
not.
have it. When I saw him, he looked exhausted. I was like, dude, like when are y'all gonna get a break? He's like, I have no clue. I just keep going till they say we're done. I'm like, all right, whatever.
Yeah,
Kudos to you, my boy.
they got quite the job over there at Alabama. They get quite the task with Kalen DeBoer. Like he's, I think a lot of people are overreacting on him too.
Yeah, it's a mixture of emotion because you still got a couple of Coach Saban guys there. And,
Mhm.
you got his guys there, so that power struggle.
Yeah.
In between, I'm sure. Of hey, this ain't how Coach would have done it. You know how
Yeah.
that goes.
Oh yeah.
So
Oh
it's
yeah.
just the point of everybody just got to be on the same page, which is hard. Year one, you're replacing basically the greatest head coach in NCAA football history.
Mhm.
So there's going to be some turmoil for a little while, at least for the first year. Then you kind of settle down. And everybody kind of works everything out.
But he's got to find his Michael Penix. He's got to. Jalen Milroe wasn't that, and Jalen Milroe's a good quarterback. He's just not. He just wasn't a Kalen DeBoer guy.
No,
It just didn't match. He needs
hey,
because I think the misconception is Penix is a runner, and that's not true at all.
no,
He
no.
can run. He's athletic.
You just watch it with the Falcons. You're like, yeah, he's a pocket passer.
Yeah, he don't want to run if he don't have to. He wants to sit back there and dice you up, which is exactly what
He
DeBoer
tore his
does.
ACL 3 times. So he's like, no, I ain't running.
He's
I'm
like,
gonna sit right back here.
no, I'm gonna get
Sit
this
right
ball
back
out. This is what I'm gonna do. Yeah.
here.
And
Speaking of
then
that, how about our quarterback going to Miami with his
with no
situation?
elbow, yeah, $4.4 million. I think his girlfriend brokered that deal too.
Yeah, basically he had the equivalent of Tommy John surgery,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not real sure how that equivalates into into throwing a football. But when it comes to
I
throwing a baseball, that rehab is hell,
Yeah,
or so
I
I've
don't
heard.
see that happening. Like, I don't see him playing for Miami this year. I mean, that's
He'll
a
play.
long
It
recovery.
just depends. It depends on how that recovery goes. 'Cause I think I saw him say Brock Purdy and somebody else had the same thing. Um, but
But Brock Purdy wasn't
surgery
good.
with modern medicine and things these days, never
Yeah,
won't. We'll see.
that's true. But Brock Purdy wasn't like he wasn't lighting the world. Like he wasn't good his first year back. I mean, that's to be expected. Like any major joint injury, like you're not going to be as good year one in returning. But
Mhm.
it's like I don't know what that's going to do to his draft stock, or if people really care, or if Miami really cares. They're paying $4 million for somebody who's probably going to be a shell of himself for at least a year.
Yeah, but hey, get that money if you can, my boy. I ain't mad
No,
at you.
I know. I ain't mad at you either. Go get it, dude. I wish somebody would pay me $4 million to go um, play quarterback and not very
Oh, ain't
well.
no doubt.
Like
Ain't no doubt.
like give me $4 million. I'll go out there and sling it. I'll go out there and sling it for $400. Give me $400. I'll go out there and sling it for you.
Yep.
Jeez. But yeah. So, um, I'm yeah. What about this basketball team?
I was so excited to watch us play, and then we get into league play, and it's like, what are we doing? guys.
We can't hold on to a lead.
I'm so excited for them, though. I think they look so much better. So much better. You can tell from year one to year two how much better they look, which for me, and this is what we talked about the whole time, is can we get better from year one to year two, which we have. But now we got to finish the games. That's now let's finish games.
You got to finish off a team like Arkansas. Like, you can't lose that game.
Yes.
But playing the road in this league is tough.
Like, what in the world?
Yeah, just they kept forcing shots. I think you're breaking up.
Do what now?
I think you broke up. I don't know if you said anything or not, but they keep they get nervous. I think they force shots. And
yeah, they did.
You could see them getting tight down the stretch of that game. They were making
it's like you're better than them. Just relax.
Just play.
Now just finish the
game. Yeah, just play. Play ball.
Yeah. I think for us, I think it's more so now that all right, we're better than people now. So we don't have to press ourselves, out of a win. Now we just play basketball.
Yeah. There's going to be 10 teams in, so you got to play for one of those spots. So you got to just figure it out before tournament time. Get enough wins so that you can, you don't have to win the tournament to get in the big dance. Win enough games down the stretch to where that's going to be a tough thing to do because the SEC is dominant.
Mm-hmm.
Auburn's going to be your national champion.
Yeah, I think this is the best I've seen the SEC in a long time as a whole, not just a couple of teams, just as a whole.
Yeah.
Kind of like football season. You just never knew what you're going to get because the whole SEC was good.
Yeah, every game's a battle. And you look around the country, it's like, okay, who else? UConn? Okay. Kansas? Who else are the contenders around the country?
I mean, your Dukes and your North Carolinas would be in it just because Michigan State maybe.
Yeah, those are just machines,
But one team I hadn't heard a lot on is Ohio State because they're usually pretty good around this time.
Yeah, they're up and down. I don't know. The Big Ten's kind of a weird conference. Purdue's always Purdue finished almost dead last in the entire country in FBS football, but they're going to be the Big Ten champion in basketball. That's pretty wild. How there's such a big discrepancy between the two sports.
Yeah, it's crazy. Shows where the money's going.
Yeah. They're trying to find another Zach Edey. So let me ask you this question. I had a student who he won't shut up about it. Okay. And I don't want you to answer this question because you're partial to one of the people. Just pretend you didn't know where either of these guys went to college. Okay. You ready for this? Who's better at basketball? Ja Morant or Anthony Edwards?
Anthony Edwards.
Yeah.
That. There's just
zero.
No question.
Yeah, no question. He is all over Ja Morant. It's hilarious. He comes in. Did you see Ja Morant? Yeah, Ja Morant's a good dunker. He's a good basketball player, but he's not Anthony Edwards. Edwards is a superstar.
Anthony Edwards has that, as they say, that dog in him that most people do not have.
Yeah.
So
he's the superstar that has that
press conference.
Yeah, I'm thoroughly impressed with how he's progressing through the NBA. I wish he didn't play for Minnesota though.
And he's a definition of FAFO. That's Anthony Edwards.
Yep, FAFO. You will, no doubt. So, well, all right, man. Well, I think that's going to do it for us here tonight. Give me one quick. Jalen Hurts. 180 passing yards, higher or lower?
I'm going lower.
Okay. Josh Allen, 229.5 passing yards, higher or lower? That's a tough one.
I think I'm going to go higher.
Yeah, I went higher last time, and he threw for 100 yards. I'm gonna take the touchdown prop on him. Travis Kelce, 6.5 receptions, higher or lower?
Ooh. I think I'm going to go higher. He tends to find him a lot in this game between them two teams.
Yeah. Okay. And Scary Terry, 63.5 total yards. Higher or lower?
Lower.
All right. So if you wanna make your picks, go to Underdog. That's who we were presented by. Make sure you get on and use the promo code BelieveDogs. That's the way to go. So with that being said, Israel, make a snowman and
Believe it.
enjoy yourself. And we'll come back at you next time on the Believe in Georgia Dogs podcast on the Believe Network. Have a good weekend. Peace. Go Dogs.